In this video, we will look at how to make a basic adjustment to your gibs to tighten or loosen them. It should be noted, however, that this method is not to fully align the head of your hammer. To tune the head of your hammer is a much more in-depth process. This video shows you how to make a quick adjustment. There will be a link in the description below for tuning the head. Also, if you haven't cleaned your gibs first, or if you're having trouble with the head sticking or with a lack of power, there are a couple of other things you may want to try before you take this step. Links also in the description below. We will start by checking how loose the head is. It is important to remember that with a utility hammer, the head is simply contained by the gibs. The cylinder and gravity guide the head. Thus, the gibs should not be too tight. A little bit of movement from side to side is normal, but if the movement is too much, then it may be time to constrain the hammerhead a bit more. First, break the locking nuts free that keep the gib bolts in place. Once all the locking nuts are free and out of the way, start tightening the gib bolts in on all three sides. We like to use the flats of the bolts for good measure. There are 6 flats on the inside of each hex bolt. Start with the side and turn the bolt 1 flat or 1/6 of a turn inward. Next, on the front, you will need to turn the bolt 2 flats or 2/6 of a turn in order to tighten the front as much as the sides, as it must close the gap on both the front and back gib. Repeat this process until the head is tight and will not move. At that point, the pressure should be roughly even on all the bolts. If it is not, the head will need to be tuned, but for now we can just leave them where they end up. Next, you will begin to back the bolt off in this same manner, 1 flat in the sides and 2 on the front until the head begins to move again. Once the head is loose, you should loosen the bolts between 2 to 4 more flats of the bolts. It is important to note that you can leave the head very tight as long as it runs well and the hammer hits hard, but the reason is that with heat or low/cold lubrication, the head may begin to stick and you may lose some power. Last, we simply need to tighten the locking nuts back in place. They should be suitably tight and you may want to check them again after the hammer has run for a while. Thread locker can be used here, but it is normally not needed. Thanks, and subscribe to keep up with what is new with Blue.